Okay, after last video, I know I should have learned my lesson. I shouldn't look at comments anymore, but let's just have a quick peek. I feel like this last video people really enjoyed, and I'd love to see the feedback. Oh, that's a positive comment. There you go, positive comment. We got Widowmaker merch for pre-order at oildrip.shop. Go check it out. People like the livery. Great, love to see it. Let's see what else we got here. This week, we begin in earnest our Toyota Unlimited Racing development, and man, just look at this car. If ever there was a sign that this is a serious build, it's this livery, all done by Illusions Wraps that did a phenomenal job. They have wrapped every single one of the cars that we've had wrapped on the channel, and they always do amazing work. The look that I was going for with the all black and the blacked out headlights and everything was like a prototype race car or race bike in the off season, doing testing, kind of like test mule style look. In this episode, we are going to be making some small changes and we're going to be making some big changes, all in preparation for the final send off of the 2AR Toyota 4-cylinder, where we're gonna show what it can do unlimited on the racetrack. First, we're going to be doing a few final weight reduction things, just getting those last few pounds out that I wasn't able to get last episode. Mark?
Yes, sir.
Welcome back to the MR2 project.
Thanks for having me back. So we're just getting rid of any bit of weight that we can, right?
Yeah.
Try and clean up all the wiring, make it easier, serviceable, and clean up the place.
2,210 pounds.
2,210 pounds.
1,001 kg.
1,001?
Yeah. Aiming to try and get under 1,000 kg. But also
You think we can do that with the wiring that's left?
There's still stuff like the tweeters in the door, which is, obviously this weighs like almost nothing, but at the same time, there's absolutely no reason for this to still be in the door of a completely gutted race car.
Nice. Here you go, Mark.
What's that for?
This
Nice
tweeter.
throw.
A serious throw for a serious build, Mark. You might say one plastic clip, what could that possibly weigh? Like a gram? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you put 1,000 plastic clips in that car, that's 1,000 grams. What could that possibly weigh? We have no idea. That's pretty hefty.
What's that?
This tweeter, that's a tweeter right there. That's pretty hefty. How is that possible?
I don't know. I don't know.
Whenever I get to the racetrack, I just take this thing out physically. It's held in by one bolt right here. And then when I need to transport it, I can just put it in and it stays, which is really nice.
Now it's time to take off the window regulator, but in order for us to do that, the cable's got to come off. And if we take the cable off, then this whole thing's going to shift downward, right?
Well, okay, I don't want to leave any of this in there, to be honest.
You don't want to leave any of this in
Now
there?
that I'm looking at it, if all we need is to have something for the window to sit on,
It won't have anything to sit on.
let's make something that's just like really light.
If it wasn't for you pesky viewers. So we'll just make a straight bracket from here down to there.
So we've gone from using this to hold up our window and allow us to roll it up and down to using this. And this is legitimately several pounds of weight savings that are about the center line of the car. And it's also allowing us to take the glass out of the door entirely. Replaced all of it with one little piece of metal right there, this little guy. And that is gonna hold the window in place.
The only thing that we're going to be using it for is like to keep the interior dry if it's raining outside.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if you go on track, this is going to come off.
You have to take the windows out when you're on track anyways, so yeah, I think that's a pretty good solution. Good thinking, Mark.
Yeah, good thinking, Ben. You're the one that thought it. So unfortunately, I think I just have to do a little snip snip.
Y'all didn't know that Mark was a surgeon. What do you weigh right now, Mark?
It says I weigh 194.
Now pick up that box for me, Mark. What do you weigh now?
206. We'll say 205.
Okay, 11 pounds. That's a lot. That's just from the doors.
Did we include the box?
What do you think the box weighs? $212.
This makes me really uncomfortable with this glass just leaning.
You said you like it? You said you enjoy it a lot? 219. So from 194 to 219, that's 23 pounds? 23 pounds.
Sub 1,000 kg.
Yeah.
This connector here, these two connectors, they are no longer needed. This wire here, this would be to the blower motor. If we ever run into a problem, like, you know, the less wires, the better.
Given his Sicilian heritage, it seemed only right that I leave Mark to handle the spaghetti, while I made some quick ride height modifications to the Fortunato suspension. Mark kept at it though until the end of the day, even accruing some hours of overtime, because as he reminds me on a weekly basis, good pasta is all about the dough.
Outside, it's very cozy, but here inside the Gears and Gasoline garage, things could not be more serious. And we've just had a bunch of parts delivered for the MR2. But before we open any of these, we actually have to drop the engine out of the car, and then we'll see just what it is that we've had shipped to us.
So we need to move this off so that we can put that engine on this table. And they said we couldn't do it.
Okay, so we have gotten the engine out of the car and we have unboxed our first mod, just about. Let's see what we got here, Mark.
All right.
Spirited driving modification debut! Nani? 240-degree at 1mm custom grind camshaft. Aggressive ramp with a 12.25mm rift. Ultra high rift. Long duration raw profile.
Did you hear something?
No, not really. It's just cams. We got cams. These are custom camshafts that Mark from Frankenstein Motorworks actually had made specifically for the 2AR engine.
This is the one that he designed.
He designed it.
Like from start to finish.
Start to finish.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That'd be really cool to put in here and see what it does.
Well, we're gonna do it.
Woo! It's a little warm. That looks so good. I want to get the crank in time, make sure that's already set, so that later on, the cams will be the only thing left that we have to time.
Grab a 22 and spin it around a little bit because it gets hidden by the chain.
We are lucky to be working closely with the pioneer of this engine swap, Mark, from Frankenstein Motorworks, who FaceTimed in to handhold us through the timing of the 2AR engine.
Well, now we're doing cams, and they're more aggressive.
Right.
So we've got to do valve springs.
That makes sense. Oh, it's like you're prepared.
Ready?
Huh? Drop in super stiff valve spring upgrade. 10% stiffer than stock. 8,000 RPM capable spring upgrade desu ka?
What is that?
I have no idea. I mean,
What are you doing?
I'm not doing anything, Mark.
Well, I'm not, clearly I'm
Yeah.
not doing anything.
Neither of us are doing anything. This is a very serious build.
So we don't want to take the head off completely. So in order to do that, to change out these valve springs, we have to put air to these cylinders so that it'll keep the valves actually up. And then we can use like a valve tool to remove that spring and then go ahead and set that back on there.
Woo!
That's original alignment mark.
I want to get one that's just closing.
Okay, I know we have the new rule, we're not looking at comments anymore, but I do just really quickly want to scroll through. I took a huge swing with that quad lock integration last time, and the Australian accent is kind of one of my specialties, so I'm sure everybody loved it, but I just want to look at the comments for myself and make sure. What? Who the heck do these people think they are? New Zealand? What is New Zealand? I have a bunch of people from Pennsylvania in my comments LARPing as Australians. What do they know? I sent this integration to my actual Australian contact at Quadlock and she approved it. I mean, I mostly skimmed the response email, but if my accent wasn't absolutely bulletproof, hey Ben, we're not offended in the slightest. However, I think you lean more towards a quote Kiwi unquote accent. The did giveaway is when you say bin when saying Ben. Crying laughing emoji, crying laughing emoji. I know this from experience. Is she joking? It's not a bad effort, it makes sense. There's a bit of Kiwi influence in the movie industry in the USA, so I can see how you did that. Is she saying I need to practice my Australian accent?
Hey, have you seen Ben? Do you know where he's at? Because I need some help in here.
Ben. Quad lock. No.
I want one supreme with no mushrooms.
I want one supreme with no mushrooms.
You want garlic bread? Yeah, I want garlic bread.
Yeah, I want garlic bread.
Why are they calling you a kiwi?
I thought it was a little fuzzy fruit.
That's what I thought it was.
Is this some kind of like slang?
Is it a slang?
Nissan Skyline GDR. Yeah, I want garlic bread. Yeah, okay. One supreme with no mushrooms. Yeah, I want garlic bread.
Ben needs to film this ad. We need to get back to this build.
Hey man, I know you've been trying to put this off, but we really gotta film this quad lock ad.
Guys, have you ever wondered if there's a better way? A better way to mount your lap timer to your race car? Well, I've got good news and I've got bad news, guys. The bad news is that no matter what you do in life to try and innovate for your audience or your sponsors, everybody's a critic. It'll never be enough. The good news is that Quadlock has taken their proprietary quad locking technology and converted it into a universal adapter. So you can mount it to just about anything. Whether it's a lap timer, a laptop, or a cute picture of a kitty cat. With Quadlock, you can rest assured it's not going anywhere, mate. Just like my voice acting career, apparently, if my dialect coach at Quadlock is to be believed, don't see me giving her advice on how to build industry-leading phone mounts, but hey. And all of this can be mounted to the car using a variety of different Quadlock mounts, everything from the Quadlock suction cup to a Quadlock roll bar mount. And everybody commenting about New Zealand. Guys, you're watching a video from America. I've never even heard of Old Zealand. And we thank Quadlock for sponsoring this video.
By now, the to-do list is very long, and the time till we need to be on the dyno is very short. We have about 12 hours. And since the only thing I know less about than the Australian accent is wiring, I'm blessed to have my good high school buddy David contact me out of the blue and offer from the goodness of his heart to help button up the remainder of the interior wiring.
Ben promised food. There's no food.
While David tackles that, Mark and I move on to the final upgrades we'll be making to the engine.
I have taken off the 1AR intake manifold that was on the motor, and we are replacing it with another Go Fast part from Mark, and it is this.
Spirited driving modification debut Frankenstein motor work shorty built intake manifold super high RPM design Monster Skunk 2 Ultra Race Plano.
Ben, what is
Just
it?
leave it. Just ignore it.
The custom cast intake manifold from Frankenstein Motorworks was a snap to install, leaving us almost finished with mods for the 2AR engine.
Intake manifold is on, nice and tight. All we have left is this 3.5-inch throttle body.
And this 3.5-inch intake.
Custom made by Frankenstein Motorworks. Okay.
All right.
I don't think it's, yeah, okay, I think we're good. So this, what is the style of?
This is a
Drive-by-wire! Large diameter 82mm throttle body. Increase intake air charge by custom 3.5-inch Frankenstein motor work. Intake tube compatible with mass airflow for OEM-like drivability.
I'm done. You're doing this on purpose.
I'm not doing
You're
it on
gonna get us canceled. This was a serious show.
While Mark cools off, I make myself busy installing the new 82mm throttle body and intake, all off-the-shelf parts from Frankenstein Motorworks that finish our beefed-up induction system. And around 9 p.m., I finally managed to placate Mark and lured him back into the garage by promising that our work for the night was nearly done and that we'd be going home any minute.
I don't got the brain capacity to be doing this right now. It's 1:30 in the morning. I lost all kind of brain cells. This is gonna do it though. Oh. Mamma mia.
We absolutely busted our butts staying up way too late, but nothing, absolutely nothing, was going to keep us from the dyno. So, the next morning when the dyno texted me saying that the winter ice storm had taken out all their power, we had a bit more time to button everything up.
What's kind of incredible is that Mark with a C is in Indiana right now, tuning the MR2 base idle. Yeah. So we can just go onto the dyno and basically get right to it and not have to mess around, waste time on the dyno with the trivial stuff. But car's drive-by-wire. It's got a Haltech ECU. He's on TeamViewer and literally taking care of all this stuff from 9 hours away. Cars are incredible in the 21st century, man. This is nuts. This is what Mark worked on all week, amongst other things.
All week? Wait a minute.
All week, amongst other things.
How many pounds of wires do you think we took out?
3!
Hey!
Not bad.
I exceeded expectations.
Yeah. The real upside is that now the interior looks so much better. And it's so much less just bundles of wire and not knowing what anything does and not knowing what's redundant and isn't. There you go. Got it? 227. Even better. I'm gonna tell you exactly what it's gonna weigh. 31 minus 2181.
2181.
Read them and weep. What the heck? It's the exact same weight it was when we started. It should be 30 pounds lighter. Didn't it? It weighed 2210 when we started. I can't fathom. Did we add fuel?
Well, while Ben has a nervous breakdown, we need to also take this car over to the dyno because we still need to get it tuned. You know, regardless of the lack of losing weight.
Oh, we did the roof. We had the roof off when we weighed it the first time. Ah.
Mamma mia, there it is. Mystery solved.
Okay. I think the important takeaway is that we started the episode with the car weighing 2,210 pounds with the roof off. We are ending the episode with the car weighing 2,210 pounds with the roof on. And that's cool.
The following day, the dyno at Driver Motorsports here in Central Virginia is back online, and the bevy of heavy hitter JDM dream cars they have in stock has been increased by 1.
We've got the intake sticking straight up towards the heavens because this combination of pipes and couplers is just not gonna fit in here. I tried to assemble it, over the internet. So for right now, this is gonna basically give us the same air charge that we would get when we're driving it, just maybe a little bit less resonant heat.
While I operate the car, I'm on the phone with Mark from Frankenstein Motorworks, who reads the dyno logs and adjusts the tune accordingly.
Look, Ma, no hands. Tuning with no hands.
Unfortunately, we're also tuning with no cams. After achieving a staggering 150 very serious horsepower, Mark informs me that he has no control over the intake cam phaser and needs me to diagnose.
We have no intake cam control, which on a motor that is VVTi is pretty essential. Mark has kind of isolated it to having an oil pressure issue on the cam phaser, so I am taking off the valve cover to confirm that all the gaskets that we need to maintain oil pressure are in place. So
the upside of this is that I get to experience the extremely pleasant process of working on an operating temperature engine in a mid-engine car, which on a list of enjoyable experiences I would rank right up there with being kicked in the head by a donkey and divorce. The long and short of it though is that we are not able to get the intake cam phaser to unlock, meaning Mark has no ability to control the timing advance, which means we can only make 150 horsepower. So, Mark overnights us a new cam phaser, and we perform an extremely routine, quick and easy parts swap. One so trivial that we barely even bothered to film anything, and then it's back to the dyno.
we made 185. So that's GLTC power. So we just did 218. 218? 210. Sorry, I'm having eye exam and learning to drive stick shift on the dyno all at the same time. So we started at 156. And we're at 239.79, so I would call that 240 horsepower. And that was just changing the tune. No issues so far, just bam, 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 bam. Look at those graphs. We have made 245 wheel horsepower on a Dynojet dyno on 93 octane fuel. That is, for reference, a 25 horsepower gain over the most we've ever made on pump gas, which was 220. Mark was actually a little disappointed by this. He said that if we had his more aggressive camshaft in there, we could make even more power. We're gonna make even more power anyways because we're gonna go to E85. So I'm gonna drain this 93 octane out of here and we're gonna put in some ethanol. It's probably not gonna actually be E85 because it's like February, but we'll have like E65 or something in here and we should make a handful more horsepower.
What we ultimately wind up with is 69% ethanol, which is nice. And then after a handful of pulls on E85,
250 horsepower. That's 20 more horsepower than we ever made on E85 before. This is not even the final form of the 2AR. He's made 270 on this motor with just a change in pistons and camshafts, but we are gonna take this to the racetrack in the next episode and see what this does at 2,200 pounds and 250 horsepower.
Horsepower accumulation 2AR FXC Ultimate Motor Trim 450 PS at 8,000 RPM Ultra Flat Torque Band Toyota Unlimited Racing Development Stage 1 complete. Objective EIR